Hello, this is Anne from Canberra Baby Directory. We are recording a series of interviews with local providers who are very passionate about supporting you in this very special time in your lives. And today I'm very pleased to introduce to you Julia Willoughby. She is the practitioner behind Yoga for Birth and Beyond. And Julia, would you want to introduce yourself a little bit to our audience?
Yeah, sure. So thanks, Anne, for inviting me along and for the whole Canberra Baby Directory. It's been fantastic. So I'm Julia Willoughby, and I've been in the field, I suppose, of working with pregnant women for nearly 30 years now. And I'm a pre and postnatal yoga teacher. And I used to be a pregnancy massage teacher as well, and also a qualified childbirth educator. So that's my background.
Oh, lovely. And what did actually bring you into the world of prenatal yoga? What was kind of your start into that?
Look, it was almost a certain moment that I remember. I was living in San Diego in California doing a master's degree, and I was also training to be a massage therapist in a really amazing place, which was all about kind of mind, body, not just physical stuff. And as part of our program, I massaged a pregnant woman, and look, I just remember putting my hands on her belly, and I thought, wow, this would be amazing to work with women like this and support them during their pregnancy. So then I just specialised in that, moved back to Australia, and taught pregnancy massage at Nature Care College and massage for about 10 years. And during that time, decided to do yoga teacher training as well, because I loved yoga. And again, it was just a natural progression for me to go into working with pregnant women. And then I wanted to know more, so I decided to become a childbirth educator. So I did that actually at the same time as Tracy from Transformed Parenting. So we go back a long way.
Oh, okay, so you mean Tracy, who possibly people know a little bit better from former Canberra Calm Birth?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, lovely. Yeah. So you both have been around a long time.
Yeah, we have.
Yeah, that's lovely. And would you be able to share with us a little bit about why you think yoga is such a great thing to do in pregnancy? And possibly along those lines too, could you maybe share with us whether women have to have a certain fitness level to do it? Because that's something I hear quite often in the community, that people say, "Oh, I'm not fit enough." Do you want to share a little bit about why women would want to start yoga in pregnancy, but also is there any requirements?
Okay, yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, look, for me, I think it's because yoga encompasses so much of our whole being. It's not just a physical exercise. It's physical. It's about mental, emotional, and even spiritual, you could say, in whatever form that takes for each person, each woman. And the physical is very important. And no, you don't need to have had any experience with yoga or be particularly fit. Pregnancy yoga, like any yoga, within one class you can encompass different levels. I mean, I have women who've never done yoga before, and I have yoga teachers come to my class. So, and I have women from 12 weeks pregnant up until 40 plus.
Yeah, okay.
So everybody does the yoga at their own level. But yes, I think preparing for an active birth, I do a lot of active birth stuff, helping women to really understand their pelvis and understand how their body is made to give birth, and to help give them that confidence that, I can do this. And, of course, for relieving aches and pains of pregnancy, it's fantastic as well. And I'm very careful with women that have any particular pelvic pain. We make modifications wherever's needed, really, for any aches and pains they have. And of course, the relaxation part of it is so important. And usually women say they have their best night's sleep after yoga. And also I do, mindfulness is very strong in the classes, and I think that helps them during pregnancy. It helps them during labor to really be very present and accept really what's happening and
Mm-hmm.
be able to make better decisions when they're in a calmer, more relaxed place.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, it really helps with parenting because that's really, you know, quite challenging sometimes. So that mental part is very important. And as
Mm.
part of that, it's exploring too their beliefs around birth. We have a lot of
Yeah.
negativity, I think, that we
Yeah.
see around birth, that it's
Mm-hmm.
dangerous or it's excruciating, or
Mm.
so part of that is to open them up to a more positive view of
Mm-hmm.
birth and how it can be, and it can be, you know, blissful.
Mm.
And it can be a whole spectrum of experiences, but the more that women prepare, the more women learn about themselves, learn about what possibilities are out there and what they can do with their, you know, internal state and their response
Mm.
to challenge, labour, whatever it is. Then I think that's really important. And the emotional, spiritual, you know, that's is about connection, really, connection with themselves, but connection with other women, incredibly
Mm-hmm.
important, and whatever else is appropriate for them. You know, even if it's a sense of trust that, you know, they can do it and that it's a normal process. So I think it's fantastic because within yoga, I can sort of put in the childbirth education. I give them a lot of resources to read up
Mm-hmm.
on and little videos, and so it's just a fantastic holistic way, I think, of approaching labour and birth and life, really, I suppose.
Yeah, that sounds really good. And I think it's particularly in these stressful times, sometimes it's hard to kind of find that space to, you know, wind down, calm down. And I think that is possibly for a lot of women really important to acknowledge that they're worthy of having this time for themselves. And sometimes women are really busy, you know, they might have a job or they might have other children. So I'm sure that can just give them that little sanctuary where they can um, have their own little calmer time.
Yeah.
In
Yeah.
regards to what I heard a little bit about what you're saying is in regards to also active birth class. So I hear out of that that you're also doing other things. So would you want to share with us what other things are available or that you're linking in with?
Yep. So I do active birth workshops, and of
Mm-hmm.
course, I had to put some of those online now. So we'll talk about that a bit later, I think, won't we, about the online stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I really love working with couples. That's more the childbirth education then that
Mm-hmm.
I can get into, and helping the partners to understand what we've been doing in yoga. And you know, it fits in so beautifully with the work that Tracy does from Transform Parenting.
Mm-hmm.
The approach that we both take is very similar and very complementary.
Mm-hmm.
And when I work with partners, you know, within that day, and I do a lot of practical things, a lot of ways of managing pain, a lot of the research-based approach really to what works
Mm-hmm.
in a non-medical way as far as managing pain. So I go through all of that so the partners really know. And look, I love seeing them at the end of the day feel like, wow, you know, I actually am an important part of this team.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just I'm standing there wondering what to do, feeling a little bit helpless, maybe anxious, but I do, you know, a bit of mindfulness for them too, and some relaxation, so that they can also find or become a little bit more centered in what can be
Yeah.
quite a scary time if it's the first time. So and I just love it. You know, one of the things I say is that just to the guys or the partners, you know, just imagine if after your baby's been born, your partner turns to you and says, "I couldn't have done this without you." You know,
Mm.
it's a beautiful way to start parenting together, to feel that you're just, you know, like this and going through
Mm.
it. So that's very special for me, yeah, to do that.
Yeah. Oh, that's really nice. And also you mentioned that obviously, or we all know that there is a huge ripple effect of the current situation with COVID. So, I mean, I'm just incredibly grateful that there's so many services who have been so fast and so responsive to the situation by offering online classes, and and I know it's you and other providers that we have here in ACT. Would you want to share how it has actually changed your practice? So obviously your focus sounds like is the yoga aspect, then you have the active birth, but what has changed for you, and what could that look like in the future, particularly if looking at the uncertainty that we have, what will happen in the next little while?
Yeah, look, it's been a huge change for everyone, I think, in whatever business they're in. And I probably stopped my classes fairly early as soon as this started, because I just felt very protective, I guess, for mums and the babies. So I sort of threw myself straight into Zoom, and it was a great opportunity. I gave everybody in my classes my pre-recorded online prenatal yoga so that they had something, but I also thought this is a great time to do free classes. So it was the way I got into Zoom and started to feel confident with it, and worked out, the best way to do it. And I could do lots of extra classes because it's really just my time. It's not that I have to, hire a venue or anything. So I think it's had a lot of positive aspects. And what I think some of us worried about was, how do we still have that social connection, especially during that time of COVID? So I limited my numbers for Zoom. And at the end of each class, we had a check-in one by one. Well, we still do, it's still running. And because I have a theme every week of different aspects of preparation for birth, then we're able to talk about that. And I think that is one really positive, because if I have a big face-to-face class of 15, 20 women, I'm not able to have that connection with them. So I actually sense in that way that I've got to know the women really much better. And it also means that, because I do the postnatal classes as well. So there's advantages for that. There's some disadvantages in that there's nothing like being together in a physical space. Probably as a yoga teacher, it's not so easy to really see what women are doing, and that can be particularly important if they haven't done yoga before or they have some problems. But if the class is small enough, then I'm able to say, okay, so just be careful with this or do that. So it can work in that way. And I think for the future, I know for me that I'll keep some online classes going, some Zoom classes. I've got pre-recorded classes that I'm just building on all the time so women can access, and then I'll do some face-to-face. So I think for all of us yoga teachers that are, or in similar professions, it's pushed us towards expanding the possibilities. And ultimately that means reaching more women wherever they are. I'd love to be able to reach women in rural areas, women that don't have classes around. And I think one thing about the Zoom classes is that, you can be very flexible with the cost of it. So if women, especially during this time, they're financially compromised, it's so easy to just have them pay what they can afford, and we don't have that pressure of rent that we have to try and cover. So I love that aspect.
And possibly also, I'm sorry for interrupting, is even women who might be friends, have a friend that's further away, they could actually theoretically do classes together.
They could.
Or which they couldn't in the past. Or, I certainly mentioned to you before, I have a friend in Germany being a yoga teacher, and she now has found that women who otherwise would have missed out on classes because they had another child sick or they had issues with transport, they now can actually do their classes and have a better access, or if women move away, they can still stay part of the group in its own right. So there's obviously, while certain aspects are harder in certain connection, you always want to have a face-to-face situation for, but it's also on the other hand giving you or opening other options for women to engage with you.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I think for most of us, our work will have changed in that sense, and we've all sort of been pushed to expand our repertoire and learn new things, and that ultimately means that we can hopefully reach more women so that they feel empowered about their birth, and they feel excited about their birth, and they start to take their power back, and to balance out really that fear and the worry, and you know what as we said before, that they can see on TV and they hear all these stories about, and we just don't hear enough fantastic stories. So you know, I get a lot of feedback from the women, and they send in their stories, and I make sure I share those with other women. And I think for some of them, they think, wow, I didn't know birth could be like this. So
that's wonderful.
Nothing better than helping women to really go into birth well informed, with lots of skills, wherever they get them from. So many great practitioners around, so many great classes. You know, we're all doing you know, a unique thing and our best, and we're all passionate about it. So I think
and that's possible. Yeah, and that's also the nice thing, that there's so many different ways of yoga, as you said, you know. So I mean, if you look at how many options women have, it's incredible. And if women would like to get in contact with you, you obviously are listed on the Canberra Baby Directory website, so they can find you there. Also find you in the magazine, but otherwise just via your website. Would you want to share what the address of your website is? Is that the easiest?
Yeah, it's just Yoga for Birth and Beyond, all one word, .com.au. And yeah, you can see what I've got on there. And you know, I've obviously got a Facebook page, Yoga for Birth and Beyond, and the groups, and yeah, we're doing lots of different things at the moment. Little talks on childbirth education, all of that. Social media is fantastic for, because so just fun things, and yeah.
That's lovely. Well, that was really lovely talking to you tonight. Thank you, Julia, for that. And yeah, so if you want to get in contact, you know how to find her. And mentioning Tracy's obviously better known under Canberra Calm Birth, but you can find her also under the Baby Directory. She's listed there. That was the other reference that we mentioned. And lots of other great providers. So
so many. I think we've got some fabulous people in the ACT. So it's great that you're bringing us all together, and you know, because we just want to make it the best experience for women, whether they're pregnant or new mums or whatever. So thanks so much for what you do and for having me on. And
of course,
it's been great to talk to you.
No worries. Hope to chat soon again. Thank you so much.
Bye. Thanks, Anne.
Bye.
Bye.